Welcome to today's episode of SRG Insights, where we answer your questions about sales, sales management, and sales training. And let's get started with today's question.
What's the best way to measure the effectiveness of a sales training program?
Okay, so that is really a great question. And how do you measure the effectiveness of sales training is really important. What I'd like to say is you need to start by thinking about what do you want to change in the business? What are the results that are going to change as a result of this training program? It could be increased new customer acquisition. I recently saw a poll where that was kind of the number one driver for many sales organizations. It could be selling at higher, more profitable sales margins. So what is the desired result associated with the training? And then you really want to focus on what are the specific behaviors are going to change that are going to drive that result. So going to our example of increased customer acquisition, a lot of that has to do with prospecting activity levels, the quality of the prospecting that's taking place, or leveraging referrals. If you're looking at maybe selling at higher, more profitable margins, then what you want to think about is really the whole notion of value and how you really map and present your value based on the specific needs your customers are, you've identified with those customers. So you think about the selling skills. That could be selling skills related to prospecting or selling skills related to selling on value. And then I like to think about a model where you focus first on the skills. The skills are really used from an application standpoint to modify behaviors, and then based on those improved behaviors, you see improved business results. So in the short term, I would measure the effectiveness of the program based on behavior change. Can you actually listen in and hear improved prospecting going on in terms of the quality of prospecting, or maybe measure increased prospecting levels or increase in the number of appointments based on referrals? You can also look, for example, in the example of higher margins. You could go out on a sales call and really listen and observe whether they're doing a great job of identifying the customer's needs, because that's the first most important way to really map your value to the customer's specific needs, and then present the unique value you bring or your solutions bring, probably both, in terms of addressing those specific needs. So in the short term, focus on behavior change. Longer term, that behavior change should be driving business results. That's why you invested in the program. And the time frame for business result changes really depends a lot on your sales cycle. If you have a relatively short sales cycle, that could be as quickly as 6 months. If you have a longer sales cycle, that could be a year. Keep in mind there are a number of factors like the economy, competition, product release dates that do affect business results. But ultimately, a model where you focus on training on skills, you see the behavior change, and then that behavior change ties to your results is really the best way to measure the effectiveness of sales training. Thank you.